I already have it loose. We're just going to run it the rest of the way out. And when it's an interesting story. We tell stories all the time. I don't share that many with the camera, but we tell stories all the time. This machine was at a customer's, and this is actually their spare pump. And I was in Florida, and my brother-in-law went out and did a service call because they needed help changing a motor. So he went over to change the motor. Then they had a bad machine with a bad pressure switch, and then it was when they changed the pressure switch, and the pressure switch was on the unit this actual pump was on. And when they isolated the tank, oh, that came off very easy. So anyway, my brother-in-law, Eric, you know, the electrical guru that we've had on here a few times, he takes care of my service call for me. Well, I hope that wasn't fragile. He takes care of my service call for me, and he shuts off the air from this compressor. It's a complicated system. He sets the air off from this compressor to the main system, but we also he turned the wrong valve. We actually have a bypass built up off of the pump. We charge the system off the pump, and the system comes back to the compressor. And this way we have wet tank, dry tank set up. This is a large shop, and the wet tank is outside, where at least half the year here acts as a cooler or a refrigerated dryer. Not a true refrigerated dryer, but it's a nice place for the air to settle down, cool off before it comes back into the shop, and we've improved the quality of the air by that. But when we plumbed the bypass coming off the compressor, and I know I'm going to get emails and questions, explain the bypass. We actually set up what's called a 3-valve bypass off of the discharge and back into the tank on the compressor. And somebody had turned the center valve, so one of the 3 valves are out of position, and when Eric turned the 3 valves off, or changed the 3 valves the way you do on a 3-valve bypass, it stopped the air from coming out of the tank, and he was able to change the pressure switch. When he turned the valves, he just turned the 1 valve back to let it pump into the tank like it should have, but because one of the valves was accidentally misturned, it started pumping and blew the head gasket over here. Friends, people make mistakes. When people make mistakes, if I make a mistake, and as far as I'm concerned, I made this mistake because Eric was doing me a favor, and we're doing this valve job. The customer's paying the parts because this is a 20-year-old machine or more. But I'm eating the labor on this because it was my company's mistake. When I make a mistake, I own up to it, even when it's not really my fault. Too many people have big egos. I could have blowed up at my brother-in-law and said, "You're doing this," or I could have told the customer, "Too bad somebody moved that valve," and blamed it on them. I'm not doing any of that. I take responsibility for stuff I didn't do. And let me share with you. Easter's coming. Let me share with you. Easter's coming. And that's what Jesus Christ did for us. He took the blame. He was blameless. I'm trying to live like Christ here. It cost me a little bit of labor. It's costing me nothing like it cost Christ for the sins I've done. Life example of living your faith the way I think Christ would have wanted me to live it. Bible lesson's over today, but that's not really a Bible lesson, that's a life lesson. I don't mean a few hours of my time to equate what Christ did for me, but as believers, as followers of Christ, this is something we set out to do every day, is to conduct ourselves like Christ would conduct himself. So we're going to continue with this right here.
Thank you for watching this episode of The Compressor Guru. Please hit like and subscribe and use the notify bell so you will know when the next new episode is released from The Compressor Guru. God bless you and have a great day.